Yo, what's good everyone? Hope y'all had a great weekend. Today I'm going to be breaking down the Nhl Dfs slate for Monday, October 24th. We got ourselves a 6-game slate here to kick off the week, where I'm going to go through a couple of my favorite line stacks, some of my favorite individual plays, and some of my favorite value plays, and then we'll wrap up the video talking a little prize picks. With that being said, let's dive into my spreadsheet here. And we're going to kick things off here like we always do in the top left-hand corner with those highest implied game totals. We got every single one of these games currently sitting at an implied total of 6.5 goals. And then take a look down here at the Vegas odds. Really don't have any crazy heavy favorites tonight, but you can see there the Hurricanes, Devils, Oilers, Blues, Stars, and Maple Leafs are favored to win. With that being said, let's dive into a couple of line stacks that I like here for tonight. And there is a lot to love about the forward position in general on this 6-game slate. There's a lot of value out here as well. But one line stack that stuck out to me was that first line for the Ottawa Senators. We got Stützle centering Tkachuk and Batherson. These three have actually been one of the best lines in the NHL to start the year. They rank 3rd overall in expected goals and 11th overall in expected goal percentage. That's across the entire league. They're very affordable here as well. Tkachuk a little more expensive at $7,100, but Stützle and Batherson very reasonable at their prices. These three have combined for 8 goals, 13 assists, 21 points in their first 5 games, and all three of these guys play up on the #1 power play, so really strong correlation here. Now, if you look up the matchup here tonight against the Dallas Stars, Dallas has been off to a good start this year, playing sound defensively, but even more so have gotten exceptional goaltending out of Jake Oettinger, who you notice is listed on the spreadsheet here. I still like this first line, and if I'm going to be playing this first line, I don't want to play Jake Oettinger in the same lineup, obviously, but Oettinger has played far too well to start the year. In fact, he's been the best goalie so far, to where I at least had to mention him. Another line stack I like here tonight is that first line for the Carolina Hurricanes. We got Aho centering Teravainen and Jarvis. Now, what it came down to here was, well, #1, the matchup against the Vancouver Canucks, who look like the worst team in the NHL, or have so far this season. They're allowing 4.5 goals per game, and their penalty kill has been by far the worst in the league, just hitting at a 55.5% rate. That is abysmal. These power plays are basically scoring on 50% of their chances. You're going to see Aho play up on the #1 power play, Jarvis and Teravainen play down on the second, but all three of these guys are going to play big minutes 5-on-5 and get time on the special teams. And outside of this great matchup, what really stuck out to me was the prices here. Again, Aho a little more expensive at $6,700, but Teravainen at $4,000 and Jarvis at $3,900. Those are great value plays, again, in a great matchup. Now, folks, before we dive into some of my favorite individual plays here, if you could like this video and subscribe to the channel, I would greatly appreciate that. I'm going to have hockey content coming out for you guys all year long. Now, diving into those individual plays, we're going to kick it off with the forwards. First guy I got there is Connor McDavid of the Edmonton Oilers. Off to a great start this year. 5 goals, 5 assists, 10 points in 5 games. But he seems to get up for these games against the Penguins as well, and probably due to the matchup against Sidney Crosby. Those two have been talked about for years now, really ever since McDavid entered the league. Is he the next Sidney Crosby? And I think he's definitely lived up to those standards. Looking at McDavid's numbers here against the Penguins since he got into the NHL, he's played 10 games where he's racked up 5 goals, 13 assists, damn near averaging 2 points per game. And then why not run it back on the other side of this game, which has a lot of high scoring potential first and foremost between these two teams, but Sid's off to a really good start this year as well. 3 goals, 7 assists, 10 points in 5 games. Both these guys, McDavid and Crosby, averaging 2 points per game to start the year, albeit a small sample size. We know the upside both of these guys have. Now, I will say this, I will like Sid a lot more if Jake Guentzel is back in the lineup tonight. He did miss last game against the Columbus Blue Jackets, but Sid still played really well in that game. 1 goal, 2 assists, 5 shots on net, and ended up with 32 DraftKings points. Now, one player I'm probably going to highlight quite a bit this year is Jack Hughes of the New Jersey Devils, especially if his price remains here in the low 6K range. He just seems to get better with each and every game, and I like the matchup at home here tonight for him against the Washington Capitals, who have not looked great defensively to start the year, and definitely have some questions around their goaltending. They're allowing 3.5 goals per game to start this season, and their penalty kill has really struggled as well, just hitting at a 66.5% rate. You're going to see Hughes play big minutes here tonight, should log about 20 plus minutes and play up on that number one power play. He's only got 1 goal, 2 assists, 3 points in 5 games to start the year, but I love the way he's shooting the puck. 23 shots on net through 5 games, averaging around 4 or 5 shots per game. I then got Jonathan Marchessault there of the Vegas Golden Knights, who I think is still too cheap at $4,800. He now has 5 goals, 1 assist, 6 points in his first 6 games to start the year, and actually leads this Vegas team in expected goals, and shot attempts. So he's not only creating a lot of chances, he's burying on those chances as well. Now, he does play down on the third line, but plays up on the number one power play and should log about 16, 17 plus minutes here tonight. And then I got Brayden Schenn there of the St. Louis Blues sitting at a nice price of $4,200. Now, I do want to mention this. If Pavel Buchnevich is back for St. Louis tonight, we'll likely see Schenn drop down to the third line. I don't like him as much if that does end up happening, but if Buchnevich is out once again, we'll see Schenn play up on that second line with Robert Thomas and Vladimir Tarasenko. I really like that, and he'll play up on the number one power play as well. Against a Winnipeg Jets team here that has not been very good on the penalty kill to start the year, just hitting at a 69% rate, and Schenn has been very good himself to start the year with 1 goal, 4 assists, 5 points in his first 3 games, where he's hit 13 plus DraftKings points in 2 of those games, which is crushing value at this price of $4,200. Now moving over here to the defensemen, and I have no issue spending up at this position here tonight, especially with the value we have at the forward position. One guy that I really like here is Dougie Hamilton of the New Jersey Devils. You could stack him up with Jack Hughes or really anybody on that number one power play, because this Washington Capitals team has not been very good on the penalty kill to start the year, just hitting at a 67% rate, so I don't mind targeting that number one power play in general for the Devils tonight. I love the way that Hamilton has been shooting the puck just like Jack Hughes. He's now got 21 shots on net through 5 games, averaging over 4 shots on net per game, and he himself has 2 goals, 1 assist, 3 points through 5 games, and definitely someone who can get on the score sheet. And that's really the same strategy here with Brent Burns tonight, stacking him up with forwards on that number one power play, whether it be a Sebastian Aho or Andrei Svechnikov. They have a fantastic matchup here against this Vancouver Canucks team, which again has only had a 55% success rate on the penalty kill to start the season. Now, I assume that will get better, but when you're allowing your opponent to score on 50% of their power play chances, that is just abysmal. That might be even underselling it, but it is not very good to say the least. Burns here has 3 assists through 5 games to start the year, and 2 of those assists have come on the power play. Now, if we do want to spend down at the defenseman position here tonight, there is some nice value out there as well. Not as great a value as the forward position, so again, I have no issue spending up for defenseman tonight, but Jacob Slavin was too cheap in my opinion at $3,800. He also plays for the Carolina Hurricanes. Now, he's not getting any time on the power play right now, so I don't love that, but this is still a guy who plays about 23, 24 plus minutes per night. He has 2 assists through 5 games, so he can still get on the score sheet, and he's not afraid to block shots either, playing big minutes on the penalty kill. This is usually a guy who floats in the mid 4K range, even low 5K range, so we're getting him at a decent discount here. And really the same thing here with Alec Martinez as well of the Vegas Golden Knights, a guy in the 3K range that can get you double-digit DraftKings points, but really doesn't see any time on the power play. He should, however, play about 20 plus minutes here tonight, play big minutes on the penalty kill, and this guy is one of the best shot blockers in the NHL. In fact, he has 3 plus block shots in every single game so far this year, getting you that 3-point DraftKings bonus. So, again, I don't feel the need to spend down at defenseman tonight, but there is some decent value out here. I also think Braden McNabb of the Vegas Golden Knights at $3,400 is in play, as well as Jake Sanderson there of the Ottawa Senators. Now, it is not often I'm going to highlight 3 goaltenders on a spreadsheet. I usually stick to 2, and if it's a 3-game slate or fewer, I might only have 1 goalie on the spreadsheet, but I like Freddie Anderson here tonight. He really just has the best matchup on this slate. The Vancouver Canucks have not looked good whatsoever. Like I said earlier, might be the worst team in the NHL so far this year. They have their GM talking about a rebuild already. It's a bad situation to say the least. Carolina is one of the best defensive teams in the NHL, and for what it's worth, the Vancouver Canucks are still averaging around 31 shots on net per game, so they're getting the puck to the net to where Freddie could have himself a good night. I then got Jake Ottinger there, and again, I had to talk about him based off of how he started the season, but I really do like the Ottawa Senators tonight. Obviously, highlighted that first line earlier, just name drop Jake Sanderson there, and have Shane Pinto listed as a low-priced value play. But Oettinger has been fantastic so far this year with a 4-0-0 record. You could argue he's been the best goalie through the first 2 weeks of the NHL season with a save percentage of .959. Really hard to ignore that. Like I said, I will definitely be playing the Ottawa Senators here tonight, but Oettinger, based off of how he started the season, I had to mention him. Now, I do think there's some solid value at the goalie position here tonight as well, and if you look at the Vegas odds, these games really could go any way. No heavy favorites on this slate outside of Carolina at -150, and I'd hesitate to say that's a heavy favorite, but I'm looking at some goaltenders here in the 7K range. We got Logan Thompson of the Vegas Golden Knights at $7,600. I don't mind that. You got Anton Forsberg of the Ottawa Senators at $7,400. I think he's a fine tournament play. And then Tristan Jarry here at $7,300 I thought was too cheap. I understand when you're playing against Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl, that is very scary, but Jarry's been very good this year himself with a 4-0-0 record and a save percentage of .941. He hasn't been as good as Oettinger, but he's certainly been one of the best goalies to start the season this year. And as always, going to wrap up this spreadsheet here with 3 low-priced options or sub-4K forward plays. First guy I got there is Pierre-Luc Dubois of the Winnipeg Jets, and honestly, I thought this was an illusion, him being in the 3K range, but he just happens to be $3,900 here tonight. Someone who plays on that second line and up on the #1 power play. He's got 2 goals, 2 assists, 4 points in his first 5 games this year, while averaging around 10 DraftKings points per game. Next, there is Shane Pinto of the Ottawa Senators. Has been playing on the 3rd line in #2 power play, but Josh Norris did leave last game with a shoulder injury, and it sounds like that's a shoulder injury that he's dealt with in the past. So I don't know if Norris is going to play here tonight. If he does play, I still like Pinto on the 3rd line, but if he does end up missing this game, Pinto should get bumped up to that 2nd line with Alex DeBrincat and Claude Giroux. If that's the case, I like him even more. All those guys playing on that #2 power play, I'd roll them out as a line stack for sure. Now, Pinto has been very good this year, even playing on that 3rd line with 4 goals, 1 assist, 5 points in his first 5 games, averaging 11.5 DraftKings points per game. And then Dan Heinen there, I was talking about Sid earlier. I like Sid better if Jake Guentzel does play here tonight, but at the same time, if Guentzel does play here tonight, I like Danton Heinen less, because we're seeing Danton Heinen play up on the 1st line right now with Jake Guentzel out, still playing on that 2nd power play, and Heinen has been very good this year. 3 goals, 3 assists, 6 points in 5 games, averaging 12.5 DraftKings points per game. And then to wrap up this video here, want to talk a little prize picks with you guys. For starters, if you have not signed up for prize picks yet, but want to get in on this action, I got a promo code that you should definitely be taking advantage of. When you're signing up, use my promo code GRIFF. GRIFF, and Prize Picks will give you all the way up to a $100 match deposit. And again, you don't have to put $100 in if you don't want to. You can put in 50, they'll match that. You want to put in 20, they'll match 20. They will match anything up to $100. Again, as long as you're using my promo code GRIFF, GRIFF, upon signing up. Now, I will say, I have not been thrilled about these even number props that they've been throwing out. You can see here, we're looking at 7 different props. 5 of them have an even number. I get it, it probably saves Prize Picks quite a bit. It allows them to push on the even number props, but for us, who are putting money on it, we want to see those half-point hooks, like Jack Hughes here, for example. Now, I do want to look into this a little bit more, but Hughes has been shooting the puck like a madman as of late. Definitely on my radar as I initially look at this, but the half-point hook is really what I like to target, and most of you have probably heard me say that in the Discord before, but hey, in Discord, if you want to join that link in the description below. But like we always do, I'm going to go through these picks here, do my research. Once I have my final picks, I'll let you know those not only in the Discord, but in the comments below on this video, and I'll be sure to pin that comment as well. Alright everyone, that is going to wrap up this video here for today. As always, thank you all for taking the time out of your day to watch the content here on this channel. If you could like this video and subscribe to the channel, I would greatly appreciate that. Let's have ourselves a great day here, folks. Let's win some money on this 6-game slate as well. I'm out of here.